Hello and welcome to Cali Legends Media. Okay, as promised, today I'm gonna do this video on Kilmar Garcia, and I could have used so many different videos to do this, but I'm gonna use Dub's video because there's something I wanted to point out that he was mentioning. Well, a couple of things I'm gonna want to point out that he was mentioning that I just totally disagreed with, and that's what reaction videos are for. It's when you don't you're reacting to the video. Okay, it's nothing personal. I hope it's not taken personal, but it is what it is. Okay, so regarding Mr. Garcia, okay, this whole issue is not about racism. It's not the Republicans versus the Democrats. It's not about us not caring about wide open borders. Obviously, we do not want that. Um, it's about putting people in prison. Okay. Now, all this talk about using CCOT and sending people to their country and putting them in prison began with emptying our prisons to save us the cost of paying for their care in our prisons. Okay. So the solution was we'll get them out of our prisons and put them in their own prisons in their country. All these criminals that have been convicted and that are doing time in our prisons, that we remove them and send them to their country, right? So that's how it began, to save us money, right? So we wouldn't incur that cost. Well, the president of El Salvador, he gave up all the drawings, and he was pretty clear about it. He got himself about $6 million from President Trump to receive this first wave of prisoners, right? And the last thing he wants to do is piss the president off. You know, that's good money. Okay, so he's kind of like a party to this whole situation. Okay, now it's not just the Democrats that feel this man's due process wasn't given to him, and that's what this whole argument, this whole situation's about. It's about human rights and due process that are guaranteed by the Constitution. I know first thing that came to your mind, hey, Mr. Garcia, he's not a citizen. No, he's not. He's a citizen of El Salvador, but he was a resident here in the United States. The reason why he was a resident here was because the court and a judge of the court decided that it would be dangerous for him to return to that country, and therefore needed more information and wanted to go through the process to really find out if this guy's situation was serious enough to keep him here and grant him asylum. Okay, so he wasn't living here illegally at the time. He came illegally into our country. At that time, he was apprehended. At that time, he should have been deported if that was the case, but he wasn't. Okay. Anyway, so he had some court dates to attend. He had been reporting like he was supposed to, as per our government's requirements. And one day on the way home with his son, he got pulled over and basically abducted, okay, and sent to prison, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about his criminality and everything that's being argued about, okay? People are in an uproar because a Democrat went over to El Salvador to get proof of life, first of all, and to find him. They didn't know where he was. You know what I'm saying? And they made a big old fiasco about it. They sat glasses there with salted edges, or maybe it was sugar on the edge. We don't know. We don't know what was on the edge of those glasses. Nevertheless, if you look at the glasses, the salt was never broken. Nobody ever took a drink from those glasses. You know, it was just a ploy to make the situation look better than it actually is and was at that meeting, okay? If you watch different people who made videos about that, you see eyes rolling, all kinds of stuff going on, you know, faces made, noises made, you know. So I'm going to entertain some of that during my video. Anyways, let's check out Dub's video. I don't know if we're going to get through the whole thing, but let's see what he presented here, because I'm sure he presented some facts. Well, let's take a look. Let's see exactly what was going on here with this video.
I did a video on Kilmar, Abrego, Garcia. We're going to just refer to him as Garcia, probably, right? I did a video on him, and there were people in the comment section that were saying that I was wrong, right? And I think a lot of these people that are saying that I'm wrong, and I don't know what I'm talking about, because they're quoting the mainstream media who have an agenda. The people that are saying that I'm wrong and quoting the mainstream media, I believe the majority of you guys, you've been on the streets your whole life. I was incarcerated the majority of my life, and conveniently for me and inconveniently for you, I just Googled it. And I'm going to put up something that is from the Department of Homeland Security. I'm just going to put up the first page and let you guys do with that whatever you want to. Okay. Garcia, and let you guys do with that whatever you want to.
Okay. So that being said, let's just take a look at this one document. There's other documents that you could look at, but one document you won't find is convictions. This man being convicted of crimes, okay? Now, yeah, his wife put a restraining order, and we're going to see the paperwork to that, which is just a restraining order. There's other pages that were not presented, but the wife was granted the restraining order for the reasons that she gave, that she was in fear for her safety, okay? And that's what there was not a criminal conviction where he had to go and do classes and go do time or anything. They just agreed that there was a sufficient reason to grant the restraining order, okay? Which is a huge difference, being convicted for a crime, you know? Like Trump was convicted for fraud. I was convicted for several things, and Dub was convicted for the 187, right? So we're all convicted criminals, but this man was not actually convicted in court, okay? He didn't get his due process for what he was being accused of, which was being a gang member. And anyways, let's go over the paperwork, because I think that's important. People rely on this a lot, you know, but you got to read the paperwork correctly, and you got to look at what it's really saying, okay? So let's take a quick look at it, okay? So let me see. Let me go back here.
It's from the Department of Homeland Security. I'm just going to put up the...
Okay. So here's the paperwork, okay? On Kilmar, Armado, Garcia, okay? And basically, it states that he's a national of El Salvador. He came across the desert and went through Texas on March 25th, 2012, here in the United States, illegally. No argument. He did. Okay. Nevertheless, he was picked up, according to this document, and questioned, and there was intelligence gathered and decisions made. And at that time, he was not deported. He went through a couple of courts, and they put him on a certain track, you know, courts he had to attend, things he needed to do. He needed to report every year, and he had to do certain things to stay in the country, okay, including not committing and getting busted for any crimes. And what I mean by that is getting convicted, because you could get arrested 1,000 times and not convicted. So those arrests are only detainments for suspicion. We don't know the truth. Anyways, let's go on here, okay? The processing information was just that he was photographed and interrogated, and his criminal history is listed below. Okay, so in the interrogation history, it talks about his apprehension, then his immigration charge. Okay, Abrego Garcia has no claims to USC or LPR and is amendable to removal under 212, with those sections being pointed out there, of the Immigration and Nationality Act, okay, as amended, in that Abrego Garcia is an alien present in the United States, basically illegally, and at any time or place other than as designated by the Attorney General. So he didn't go through the process according to the Attorney General, okay? He came in contrary to that. So he's here illegally, okay? His humanitarian issue now, okay? It says that he claims to be in good health. Abrego was given the opportunity to make one free phone call. Abrego Garcia made a call to an unknown person at an unknown number. It's been redacted, and remained on his phone call for 5 minutes, okay? So let's see.
Page.
So
and
we're going to go into his gang validation, okay? Oh, damn it. Let me see. I'll go back here. So his gang validation, okay? Per Prince George's County Police Gang Unit, okay? So this is per the gang unit. Abrego Garcia was validated per the gang unit as a member of Mara Salvatrucha MS-13 gang, okay? That was by the gang unit. Subject was identified as a member of Mara Salvatrucha MS-13. I can't really read that. Chequeo from the Western Clique of the Transnational Criminal Street Gang. This information was provided by who? A confidential informant. Okay, we talked about those people in my last video, how they did me and how they did the man that was in prison for 32 years unjustly. Okay, now this confidential informant who has provided truthful, accurate information in the past. Okay, in other words, they use this guy for information. What he gets out of it, I don't know, but confidential informants don't just give up information just to help, help the side of the law. They're granted certain immunities and stuff, and certain privileges and opportunities, depending on the value of the information given. Okay, so we don't know. We don't, just because some confidential informant advised them that he was a gang member, and it's through the gang unit. It's like crazy. Was it because he had Mara Salvatrucha tattooed on his forehead? Was it because he had the hand sign on his chest, on the back of his head? Did he have the horns? Like, what did he have to indicate that? And it wasn't no tattoo on his knuckles, which we'll discuss later, okay? Because that would have been noted here with a swiftness, okay? So, let's call bullshit. Anyways, let's go on here.
And
so we're going to go here to the intelligent information, okay? It says that Mr. Garcia has gang affiliation, okay? And the subject states that he has no information about gangs or human or drug smuggling, okay? It says that Mr. Garcia was advised of his rights to speak to a consular officer of his native country of El Salvador, and he declined, okay? Then Mr. Garcia claimed that he had fear of returning to his home country of El Salvador, okay? I guess it comes out later that he was afraid of some gang. All it says is that he had fear of returning to his country for whatever the reason, okay? And he got a notice to appear, okay? That's what the disposition was. It wasn't deportation. He got a notice to appear, okay? which was executed on Abrego as per section 212. There's the sections listed of the Immigration and Nationality Act. Okay. So one part of this document says that he had no fear of returning. And then another part says that he stated, yes, he does have fear of returning. Nothing mentions tattoos, nothing. The only thing that indicates that he's a gang member is a gang unit with a confidential informant. Okay. And I don't think that is very very reliable, to tell you the truth, in my experience dealing with them. But anyways, let's go on some more, okay?
Put that whatever you want to. Okay. Garcia is not the innocent person that people want him to be. You know, it's a trip how people are willing to overlook stuff in order to make our own country less secure. So you guys arguing for Mr. Garcia, for Kilmar Garcia. Is it truly your belief that our border should be wide open and that anybody should be allowed to come?
Okay. Look, that's one of the things that I had mentioned. This is not an issue about open borders. Of course, we don't want open borders. Most definitely we don't. We even want people to be deported out of this country that are here illegally. And the ones that are in prison, sure, send them to the prisons over there. That's not an argument for this situation, okay? There's no talk about we want open borders, give us open borders. No, we don't want that. Most definitely we don't want that.
Into our country, even though that's not allowed by any other country on the planet. But no, but the United States, if they do the same thing that every other country does, it's racist somehow. Because racism is injected into everything in this country. Imagine if we could do stuff in this country without people injecting racism into it. But no, the easiest way to...
I think everybody watching, I'm not going to get into this because I think everybody watching this video has enough common sense to know this has nothing to do with racism. Nothing at all. Zero. I haven't heard it mentioned except on this video. But anyways, let's go on. Let's give the man his opportunity.
Control a person or control masses is to get them emotionally charged up. Racism, that word, to me, when I hear that word nowadays, I honestly don't pay attention. Because that word is used so often. And I'm from a minority group.
Okay, I believe racism is used to divide the people, to keep the people divided, to control them and get them, make them feel either empowered or riled up. I think religion's used for that. But racism is used to divide the people. And it seems also politics, you know. But anyways, let's go on.
Fortunately for me, I look around and I identify the truth, or at least I try to. I was a product of the criminal justice system of this country, specifically California. Did I get a fair shake in everything I did? I mean, every criminal court case and this and that. I may not have gotten the same treatment as someone who was wealthier, but wealth is not race. And you know what? You know what's even more important than that? If I wouldn't have broke the law, I wouldn't even know that. You see, if we get to the root of things, then maybe we use some common sense and get to the root of things, then we wouldn't have all these arguments and debates. Stop babying people. They're not your children.
Okay, this has nothing to do with babying any individual or anything. And you're most definitely right, man. The only way to get to the bottom of things is to do a root cause analysis. And then when you come to the conclusion of that, then you could start doing some corrective actions. We skipped all of that and we went straight to picking up people on the street and sending them to prison. It just wasn't done the way we were told. We're going to empty out all the people from our prisons that is costing us money, that are a burden to us, and our tax money is being wasted caring for them. Why not send them to their prisons in their country? And that was supposed to be the deal. Okay, take them out of prison, send them to prison. But we're taking people off the street, and you know, this guy's going to come back. They're going to bring this guy back. I'm almost 100% sure. I'm going to say 99.999% sure they're going to bring Mr. Garcia back. You know, the Supreme Court, federal court, all of them, they've all talked about this. They voted 9-1 or some ridiculous, overwhelming number that he was not given due process and needs to be returned. They even put a halt on this deportation process, you know, where people are going directly to prison, you know, especially concerning the people from El Salvador and the people from Venezuela, or whatever. I always say that wrong, but that's been halted. This little program of Trump's, the Supreme Court stepped in and said, hey, hold on, you know, look, if Trump would just stop making stupid comments in between speeches, in between different topics, and using social media to try to prove his point, he should go to court and go to these courts and argue his point and provide his evidence and go from there. You know what I mean? But instead, all he does is just throws little bits and pieces of what he is told, because that's basically what he's relying on, is his people, the people working for him. And there's no way that this president is going to back down if he doesn't absolutely have to. Not just a matter of pride, but he doesn't want to look like he's backpedaling on anything. So yeah, you know, if there's going to be any difficulty, that's what the roadblock is going to be until he has to do it. You know what I mean? It's not that big a thing. He just needs to ask this president to return this person, and he'll be returned. Okay. The guy's keeping him because he don't want to ruffle President Trump's feather. You know, they're supposed to pay for the imprisonment. He gave them our tax money to take care of them over there. You know, make it make sense. But anyways, let's listen some more. This
let
gets
people
good.
baby their own kids, and when they become adults, let them be responsible for their actions. Now, people said he had no criminal history. He just wanted a better life. Is that right? He was found by 2 different courts to be a member of MS. He was
Based on the gang unit and the confidential informants information and the information and the papers that were first processed with him when he came into this country. So the judges went ahead and went along with that. They read it. Okay, so he's an MS gang member. You know, come on. Everything that they try to do to prove that this guy is a MS gang member has been bullshit. President Trump showed a hand of this guy who had some pictures on his knuckle, and it said MS-13 on top. It was superimposed to show, I guess, that the marijuana leaf was a M. There was something. The next picture started with an S, but the 13 was irrelevant. They just put a 13 on these last 2 fingers. But if you're not going to do it, but if you took the time to go through a couple of videos where they show Mr. Garcia, okay, and look at his left hand, because that's the hand that Trump showed, okay, there's no tattoos on the knuckle. You know what I'm saying? There's no MS-13, none of that. So, yeah, this is crazy. I wanted to add that into the video and show the pictures, but we're already 24 minutes in, and I got to end this video. It's just too long.
gaffled up, picked up, on an investigation of a homicide. Was he the suspect of the homicide? No, but his friends were, the people he hangs out with. Ask me who you run with, and I'll tell you what you are.
I'm sorry, man, but I gotta get back in here. Listen, I hang around with guys from all over, different barrios, man, even Florencia. You know what I mean? Like different from all over. That don't mean I'm from their barrio. A lot of them are into different things, you know, and I don't work with them, you know, doing what they're doing. That's their pedo. So just because I hang around with them, you can't say, oh, he's from there because he hangs around with these people. You know, oh, squares don't hang around with gang members. Sure they do. You know, they might later become gang members themselves. You know what I mean? But and some won't. But yeah, squares do. Squares kick it with the homies. You know what I mean? I don't get it. I don't understand where this reasoning's coming from. I think he was maybe told something in his comment section and he's trying to defend it, but this is definitely not true. You know, I have a lot of friends that, you know, are into different things. That doesn't mean I am. You know what I mean? They're into what they're into. Hey, I just know them. You know, that don't mean that, you know, I'm whatever they're participating in that I participate also. You know, come on, like that's doing too much now. Like we're really jumping way out there now on this.
If you run with gang members,
wow,
you're involved in the reindeer game.
really?
Not true.
Okay.
I don't know any
All
squares.
right, all
When I was
right.
doing my gang banging, I don't know any squares that hung out with us. No, everybody was involved.
Okay, well, it must be like that all over the world.
So this whole, he was just searching for a better life. He had no criminal. He came into this country illegally. Those of you that keep trying to say he came over legally, where is that proof? He came over illegally.
Yes, he did.
He crossed through Texas illegally.
Correct.
Now, he has no criminal record and this and that. Okay. Now, I want you to look at something. And I don't know how long I'm going to keep it up on the screen.
That's just a restraining order. That don't mean dick.
It's a restraining order.
Support men beating women?
Mm.
No. Then you shouldn't support this guy.
Or murderers.
His fiance,
Or robbers.
whoever she is,
Or pedophiles.
she filed a restraining order on him
Mm.
because he was hitting her, scratching her,
Wow.
bruising her, and ripped her clothing.
Come on, Dubs. I'm trying to get through
Great
this
guy.
video, man. Take it easy.
Great guy. Yeah, let's have him come back. Let's have him come back, and then when he kills her, then let's probably maybe, I don't know, maybe enforce a law on him.
Okay.
But let's let him come back and beat her up so much.
Wow.
Let him just beat his old lady up.
Careful. Careful. Tread lightly,
You know,
Dubs.
patch her up because
Tread
now that he's
lightly.
gone, She's having second, thoughts, and she misses him and wants him back. And okay, battered women syndrome. There's a thing called that, right? It's such a thing, battered women syndrome.
Yes, there is.
So he comes back and maybe, you know what? He's like, I love you, babe. I'll never hit you again. I promise you. And instead, he beats up your wife
Oh.
or your girlfriend or your
Ooh.
daughter.
Wow.
Let's take that chance,
Don't throw stones.
We need to talk, brother.
right?
We're going to
Don't
talk.
throw
Bring him back. An
Okay.
illegal immigrant. Let's bring him back. Let's have the mainstream media put out more propaganda about a guy who beat up his girlfriend. She got a restraining order granted and placed on him. Yeah, he's a good guy. I'm real interested to see in the comment section what you guys have to say. Those of you that said that you guys are putting up a bigger fight for my raza than I am.
He's salvadoreño.
The people that are saying that I'm wrong and quoting the mainstream media, I believe the majority completely lost their mind. And there were people in the comment section that
Watching it nor filming it.
Okay, look. I hate to go here, but look, like I said in the beginning, all this is about is due process. our government, our court, kept this man here in the country for whatever reason. You know, I don't know section 212A, B, 6 by 5. What, I don't know nothing about all the laws, but I know this much. They kept him here. They gave him a court date. Okay. They arranged for him to stay in the country, but he had to report periodically and not miss any court dates. Okay. And not commit any crimes. If he would have committed a crime, I'm sure they would have deported him. No, they put a restraining order on him, but what was a conviction? What was the sentence? I haven't seen any paperwork. And Doug's knows what paperwork is. This is not paperwork. This is something that was discussed between the wife and the judge, and was decided that she should have a restraining order, an order of protection, until we find out what's really going on. But where's the convictions at? That's what makes you a criminal, is when you've been convicted for a crime. This being said, okay, I hate to go there, but he mentions about, well, let's bring him back, and then when he kills her, and then when he beats up your wife and the neighbors, and look, Doug's got due process when the law came in and gave him an opportunity to be free. He had to make some decisions in his life, some changes in his life, to prove that he has changed and is eligible for that parole. And he did it, okay? Now, he was convicted for the 187 of a man, okay? Not for having a fight with his wife, okay? A serious crime. He was already convicted and sentenced to life, okay? But he was given due process and he made it out. And after making it out, that's why I was saying to tread lightly and don't throw rocks, man. Listen, after he made it out, he had the audacity to go online, okay, and not only threaten Jerry, but his whole family. I'll destroy your whole family. And that's what happens when a person has anger issues, and they could turn on you, and they could be just as bad as the reason why they were put in prison. But he literally threatened a whole family, to destroy a whole family on TV. Now, he was brought back into society. Why is it okay? Because he was born here? Now, fuck that. You know what I mean? He was very fortunate and should be a little bit humble. And think about this man. Yeah, he's not a perfect man either. Yeah, he has flaws just like everybody, because we all do. But did he have any recourse? Did he have anything in line that would have given him the opportunity to live a different life? And if he would have fucked it up, then he would have been deported, whatever, or sent to prison. But the point is, he hasn't been convicted of a crime, and he's sitting in prison. That's different. This content creator committed a crime, was sitting in prison, and was released back into society, and threatens a whole family on fucking social media. So, like, to threaten, to try to scare the people, oh, what if he kills your wife and the neighbors? And look, if you're that concerned, go on Megan's Law and see who you're surrounded by. They're not Mara Salvatruchas, you know what I mean? We're surrounded by some sick-ass human individuals, okay? And this isn't a race argument, okay? This is a human rights argument. This is a constitutional argument, a right to do a due process. The guy still had some courts in line and some things to fulfill per the courts. Instead, he was just shipped off to prison without doing the things that we've done. Even the president, you know what I mean? I don't make it make sense, you know? Now, this isn't just something that I'm talking about or that the social media is talking about, we have the Supreme Court chiming in and telling President Trump, hey, you gotta like stop all this until we talk about this and get this situation rectified. Let's make things work right, with some checks and measures. You know what I mean? We can't just be picking people up and because they're a certain nationality, and we got some confidential informant to say something. That's why there's so many people in prison. I did the video yesterday about Humberto that got out after 32 fucking years behind a confidential informant from a witness that said something they shouldn't have said. And I gave the example how the confidential witness got me twisted up. You know what I'm saying? They could say anything. We don't know their motives. Anyways, this is my video for today, folks. I'm not personally vested in this situation. They could bring them back or not. Would I like to see him come back? Yeah, I would. If he had still some type of process to go through to figure out whether or not he could stay here in the United States, I think he should have been able to go through that process. And it's not something that he decided or that the Democrats decided or the Republicans decided. It was decided by the courts who are in charge of that process, okay? And they granted him that possibility, just like Dubs was granted the possibility to come out of that prison after doing what he did, okay, and to live a different life. You know what I mean? Why? Because this guy's not wasn't born here. He's a human being. Okay, he was a resident here, and he was given those rights, and he was denied them by the president of the United States because he lied to the people, saying he was going to take people from prison and put them in their prisons in their own country, so it wouldn't cost us money. It still did. He still used our money for it. Only he moved them over there and then paid the president to take them. He made it sound like real chingon. Yeah, I sent them over there and they took them. No, he paid them millions of dollars of our tax money. What did he do? He didn't do shit, but commit more fraud and say that, oh yeah, I sent them over there and they took them right away. And no, you were in negotiations with them prior to that, and they agreed to take them for so much money. And the ones you sent over there, you still got to pay for too. Trump's got not Trump. We got to pay for it still. So it's a lot of things going on, but you got to look underneath what's being shown to you, man. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by the media. Don't be fooled by paperwork unless you really look at it and take it apart. You'll find things that are twisted and corrupt, because that's a society that we live in. You know what I mean? And people, some people, like, I don't know, like Dub says, man, some people, they're like, están más locos que la chingada. Anyways, this is my video for today. I know it's going to cause a whole lot of controversy. I can't wait. Let's talk about it in the comment section. I challenge you. Thank you for watching. Really appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. God bless your families. Stay free, people. Stay out of that court system, man. If they get their claws on you, man, they'll twist things up. And innocent or guilty, man, they're always going to make the story fit what they're trying to do to you, true or not. They're going to make it sound like it is, to convince the jurors. So be careful, man. There's a lot of innocent people in there. If you looked into how many people just that Innocent Project have freed, you'll be shocked, And these people are people that have done 30, 40, 50 years in prison already. Their lives are gone. They're wasted. It was taken from them. Anyways, this is my video. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.